Hey everybody, it's Michael from Replica Airguns in the C-Can here, doing a tabletop, or well, I guess not really on the table. These big guns, these long guns are a little tough to do on the table. So I'm going to be doing it in the chair with my little cheat sheet, my reading glasses. You get to see everything. Me actually doing the review without all the cuts, maybe a few cuts if I get off track. But I have the Webley, and this is the Valuemax. It is a .22 caliber spring piston brake barreled rifle. Now I'll be honest, this did come across my table some time back. I can't even tell you when. Sometimes I'll put a gun away and I'll kind of rediscover it later when I'm organizing or trying to figure something out. And I'll go, hey, did I review that gun? I don't remember it. Sometimes I just forget that I've reviewed a gun, and I actually have, but I look back, I had not reviewed this gun. The reason it came across my attention or came to my attention is because I was thinking of doing a video about dieseling. And what dieseling is when you, especially with these brake barrel pellet rifles, you put a little bit of oil in the spring piston chamber. So you put the oil, right, drop it in there, and sometimes it takes several shots, but what happens is you'll get a dieseling. So you get a little bit of combustion from the pressure of the piston, the spring, the pressure in there will actually make the oil combust like a diesel engine does. So diesels don't use spark, they use compression to make the explosion. So I don't know if it's because this isn't a super high powered gun. It's only like a 500 FPS gun, but I thought maybe because of that, I couldn't get it to diesel. I tried, I took a lot of shots. I tried different amounts of oil. I tried very little oil, more oil. I couldn't get it to diesel. Maybe I'll have to try something different. Maybe I'll have to do a little more research to try that. But when the gun does diesel, obviously you're going to get the assistance of the spring and the air combined with the explosion to get a faster FPS. So I thought I'd see what that effect would be on the chronograph. Again, I didn't get any results, so there's no point in making a video. But I thought, hey, I haven't reviewed this gun. It isn't even for sale in our site anymore. It's discontinued. But that's never stopped me from reviewing air guns before. I don't review a lot of brake barrel pellet guns. I don't review many .22 caliber pellet guns. So I thought I'd do it. We do have both brake barrel spring piston pellet rifles in our Canada and US stores, and we have them in .177 and .22 caliber. So there are other options there if you're interested in something like this. Maybe you have this gun, maybe you're interested in this gun from somewhere else. Well, hopefully this review will help you either way. So let's get into the specifications for this gun. And I'm going to be cheating here. Now it's pretty plain Jane, obviously. It's nothing fancy. It's an all black brake piston or brake barrel spring piston gun, as you can see. It's got the nylon stock, sort of has this kind of interesting, whatever you want to call this. On the front, it's not a suppressor, it's not really I don't know, silence or anything like that. It's not really a muzzle brake. It's just there for show. You do have a nice raised cheek pad here, and you got the rubber butt plate. So it does look okay. It's decent looking, but nothing fancy. All right, so let's get into it. So it is, again, a single shot brake barrel spring piston propulsion. Uses .22 caliber pellets. It weighs in at 6.4 pounds, which is almost 3 kilograms, so 2,900 grams. The barrel length is 17.7 inches. So that's 450 millimeters, and of course it is rifled since it's a pellet rifle. The total length is 43 inches, so it's decent length to it, which is 1,092 millimeters. And it does have a claimed FPS of 495 right actually on the gun. So this is the Canadian version. I believe the US version that is non-restricted or it's not detuned would be closer to 800. But again, keep in mind this is a .22 caliber pellet rifle, so heavier pellets. And I'm just going to tell you right now, when I was trying to get it to diesel, I was using these Crosman Premier hollow point lead pellets, which weigh 14.3 grain, and I was getting about up to 480 FPS, so right around 470 to 480 on average, and that would be about 7.32 foot-pounds. So the energy is decent. Good enough for small game up close, small pest control, that kind of stuff. Definitely some, target practice. It's going to perform pretty good. All right, getting back to the specs. It does have an adjustable trigger for travel only. This is the Ultra version, or sorry, this is the not the Ultra. This is the Valuemax version. So it is going to have a more basic trigger. Some of the triggers on these rifles, the Webley rifles, will be two-stage, so adjustable for stages, and then a trigger tension, weight basically adjustment. This one doesn't have weight. It just has a travel adjustment, one single adjustment. So you might find conflicting information on different websites, but I can see here and in the manual it does say that, and I'll show you the manual and stuff in a second. Not much to it. Now you're going to find basically a rear trigger safety, and I'll show you that when I do a quick walk around the gun. But the trigger safety resets whenever you break the barrel, so you're going to have to push it in with your thumb for each shot, which is kind of cool for safety. It does have fully adjustable. They're called True Glow, so spelled TRUGLO, fiber optic front and back sights. They are plastic for the most part, so keep that in mind. Don't be dropping this gun on its sights or they will probably get destroyed. You also have an 11mm dovetail rail with included scope stop that comes with it, that you can move around a little bit forward and back so you can have your scope in different positions. And of course, that's just, you can put whatever you want on there. Optical sight. I wouldn't think a red dot would make sense, but a nice powered, optical sight that has maybe 3-4 times that power would be good. The stock is synthetic, which I think is the right kind of thing. Do you need a wood stock? It's probably going to cost more. This is a nice stock that's going to be durable for sure. It's textured. It does have a vented rubber butt plate and a raised cheek piece here. So that's not adjustable, but it does bring it up a bit, allows for a little higher cheek placement on the gun. And it does also have an anti-bear trap mechanism so that the gun will not come back. And I believe what that basically is I'm not going to try it here but when it's fully cocked and locked in the fully cocked position, you can't accidentally pull the trigger and release the brake barrel back, which can happen. Some people can have their fingers in there. They call it a bear trap, and there goes your finger. Hopefully you don't need medical attention. So this anti-bear trap system should stop that from happening. And it does it is made or distributed at least by Webley. So it's not made in a Webley factory. It's actually made in Turkey. I'm sure they shop it out to someplace in Turkey. Turkey is known for decent production of air guns. They make actually quite a lot of air guns. They make a lot of blank guns. So they do make a lot of gun-related products. It's not something, even shotguns, they make shotguns, things like that. They seem to be known for those types of guns. All right, it does come in a pretty basic cardboard box. Doesn't tell you much, right? This is it. Not much really on it. Some pictures of pellets. That's it. You're getting that. There's a little bit of styrofoam in the box. And then you have this Webley manual, which, I'm not even going to show you. It's really, really basic. It does have the most important thing is going to be the instructions for the trigger, and it shows different trigger options because it's for different guns. It's not just for one gun. All right. So let's show you around the gun, and I'm going to give you I'll talk a little bit about the performance, because as I said, I did try it out really quickly when I was trying to get it to diesel. So I haven't done the field test shooting video yet for this gun, but I can tell you a little bit about how it performed for me when I shot maybe 20 rounds through it, just trying it out for fun. So let's get in here a little tighter. I want to show you this gun nice and close. Okay, I want to show you the detail. So this is the safety. Basically, it comes out when you cock it. I'm not going to do it. And then you push that in until you see the little orange sort of indicator there. That means it's live. Here's your dovetail on the top with your scope stop right here. And you can see you got different holes, so you can move it around. You can move it all the way forward or in the middle or all the way back. Okay, you have this checkered synthetic stock with the vented butt plate. Okay, nice rubber butt plate. The trigger guard is part of the stock. Okay, from what I can tell, it's a two-piece, so it's its own thing. So that's good, because if, for instance, if you did break, let me get in here. So if you did perhaps snap this, because it is plastic, that's a bit of a of a con. But if you did break this, you could replace the trigger guard. Maybe get a new one. The trigger is metal, and the actual adjustment for the trigger is in behind here, right? So you got the textured stock. You have, let's see if we can get in here before it zooms out. It's always hard as soon as you don't have anything behind it. Okay, I want you to see the front here and the fiber optic sight. It is kind of got a recessed barrel, slightly recessed barrel. You do have this fully adjustable, again, fiber optic rear sight. It's plastic, okay? Again, I'll just show you the other side real quick. Nothing really different. There's really not much to show you on this side. It's all the same, essentially, although you do have Some information here. Okay, so that's where you can get some of your information. Made in Turkey, FPS caliber, who it's made by, all of that. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened when I shot it. Again, I didn't get it to diesel. Not sure why. Maybe I wasn't using the right oil. Maybe just because it's a lower powered spring, there's not enough compression. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. If somebody knows, maybe let me know. I'm sure there's people out there that have tried this themselves and know more about getting an air gun to diesel than I do. But I can tell you, it shot pretty consistent. You know, some of the lower FPS were like in the 450s. Most of them were up and over 470 to 480. Nothing was really over 480 that I can remember. Nothing got, you know, too close to 500, but that's pretty good. Again, considering I was using 14.3 grain lead pellets, they're 22 caliber pellets, that's going to have a fair bit of energy. Will for sure take a rat out if you get a neck or head or even a shoulder shot on a small rat or, you know, some sort of large mouse or some small rodent. You're going to have no problem. The accuracy was decent. I didn't really play around with sighting it in, but when I wasn't even really trying for accuracy. I was mostly concerned about FPS, but I was shooting for the bullseye. Again, not really that focused in my accuracy again. And it was actually shooting pretty decent groups without me even trying. So it'll be interesting to see when I actually do, you know, slow it down, make sure I'm centered properly on the bullseye, take my time and shoot 10 rounds through it. We'll see what I get in terms of actual accuracy. I'm expecting, you know, I could probably get a good half an inch, maybe even better. That's at 30 feet, maybe better. We'll see, right? So stay posted for that. I will be doing the field test shooting video for this gun shortly, probably next week. Okay, so let's get into some of the pros and the cons. So it's an inexpensive price tag for this gun. It's, from what I can see, it's well made. You know, lots of metal. We do have some plastic in the synthetic stock on the sights, the trigger guard, but other than that, it's mostly metal. Initial tests showed to have good accuracy and power, more to come. Fully adjustable sights with this optical true glow fiber optic built into it, so they're really easy to see on just about any type of background. And you can, of course, again, add the magnified optical scope using the top built-in 11mm dovetail rail. You have the fiber, again, fiber optic stock is durable and functional with the addition of the vented rubber butt plate and the raised cheek guard there. That's not adjustable, but it does help a little bit. The trigger feels decent, even though the actual weight of the trigger isn't adjustable. The travel is adjustable. I didn't play around with that, but it seemed just fine to me. You could change the trigger length. If it's too long or too short, you can play around with that. It's nice that it has that rear thumb safety that actually resets after each break of the barrel. So it means every time you break the barrel and load a pellet and then cock it back, you are going to have to push that safety in to get the gun to shoot. So you might miss the odd shot if you forget to you know, push that forward, but you won't accidentally, hopefully, shoot yourself or somebody else because the gun was live and you didn't know it. So that's kind of good. You will find it's nice and light. It has a nice and light short action, single action trigger, of course, because this is not a double action gun because you have to cock it before the trigger's engaged. And again, it would be good for small pest control because of the decent FPS and good accuracy. Again, we'll find out more when I do the actual field test shooting. We'll get a true 5-round FPS and we'll find out how decent it is at 30 feet at least. This gun, you're probably going to want to shoot, you know, within 30 to 50 feet for accuracy, especially if you're using the open sights, but it should be just fine for closer quarter pest control, I would imagine. All right, some cons. The included sights are mostly plastic. All you're going to find on the sights that are metal are the actual screws for adjusting it. The rest of the sights are plastic. This whole front piece right here is plastic, all of it, and this whole piece here, which swivels up and down, is plastic. Again, just the screws, the adjustment screws are metal. Now the Valuemax version, again, has a more basic, less adjustable trigger. So if you want a trigger that's got multi-stage adjustability and also weight adjustability, then you're going to have to step up to a higher end model, but you get what you pay for. You're going to pay more for that, but you're going to get more flexibility in terms of adjusting the trigger. And we do sell some other Webley air rifles. Not sure if they're in stock, but they're not discontinued at least. So there's a possibility of, if we're out of them, at least them coming in stock. And we have 22 caliber, a version of a Webley rifle, break barrel rifle, and a 177 caliber. So check out the links in the description to find those guns. And this gun, again, is detuned down to under 500 FPS. for Canadian import as a non-regulated firearm. We don't, none of our guns are, would you have to register. None of them are regulated in the airgun store because we don't have a business firearms license. So we're only allowed to sell non-regulated firearms, which are air guns, airsoft guns, BB guns, pellet guns that aren't too powerful and you know, not necessarily high in their basic muzzle energy, right? So that's why this is basically 500. The US version, if you're buying this gun in the US or any other Webley or any other pellet rifle, you'll probably find that they shoot a lot faster. They have much higher claim velocities, and that's why, okay? So here in Canada, we just have to go with what we can get without having to have firearms licenses, because most of our customers in general, you know, don't have a firearms license. Some do, like myself, I do, but some don't. All right, that's enough. Stay posted for the upcoming field test, official upcoming field test shooting video for this rifle. If you're interested in something like this, again, it's not available, it's discontinued right now, but we have a whole bunch of other break barrel pellet rifles in our store. We got, you know, CO2 rifles, we got all kinds of stuff there for you guys. So check out replicairguns.ca for Canada, replicairguns.us for the US for all kinds of air guns, BB guns, pellet guns, airsoft guns, blank guns, and other accessories. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.